Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. This is the LAX Coastal's Power Professionals Building Your Professional Brand. Now, there's two parts to building your professional brand. There's building yourself as an individual, and then there's building your business. And fortunately, we have an amazing gentleman who is going to be going over a bit of both. And just to tell you a little bit about the background of Power Professionals, how this got started, why we're doing this, and what this is for. So Power Professionals is a training session, is a group of training sessions, and it allows our individuals who are looking for a career change, are looking for a job, and or are looking to change their brand, change who they are, change their lifestyle, to get to know who they are and what they want to change things to, but also for individuals who have a business to think about how can I modify my business. And these sessions are open to everybody, regardless of if you're a chamber member or not. And we are doing these trainings to make it so that you, through Leaderverse, and I have to appreciate and acknowledge our two co-chairs that have created our 6 sessions, which you'll see the other sessions a little bit later on in the programming, Sheila Miller-Nelson and Scott Woodhill. A huge thank you to both of you for taking this challenge on, making this work, and creating something for us to be able to share with both chamber members and non-chamber members. And without further ado, Scott and Sheila, I would like you to take it away and introduce our speaker and just talk a little bit more about Leaderverse and what is going to be happening.
Sure thing. So, hey everyone, I'm Scott Woodhill with Woodhill Solutions and Sheila Miller-Nelson with Midian Consulting. And basically, Leaderverse is a collaborative effort that we started between Sheila and myself. And it's to deliver the kind of content that we're doing today, training and mostly training. We don't like a lot of presentation type of stuff only. It's got to be experiential and having a lot of participation. So the person that I'll be introducing in just a second will exhibit some of those same details. So we partnered with the LX Coastal Chamber of Commerce to bring a series to their Power Professionals program. Some of the upcoming ones are presentation skills, people skills, time management, stress management, and entrepreneurship for now. And stay tuned. I know Power Professionals has other stuff that they are offering, but that is out of my purview and out of Sheila's purview. Now let's get to the programming. So I would like to introduce a friend of mine, Steve Domier. His mission is to help people tell their stories better. He's an award-winning marketing executive for Disney and Warner Brothers, and he's helped TV shows find their audiences. As a university instructor, he helps his students find careers. And as a communications consultant, he helps his clients find the best way to discover what value they provide to the world and how they convey that to their customers. So here to lead us in today's workshop on building your brand is Steve Domier.
Thanks so much, Scott. I appreciate it. Look at that thunderous applause. I can hear it. I really appreciate you inviting me for this. Scott and Sheila, you put together, I think, what promises to be a really helpful and informative series, and I really appreciate being part of it. Thanks, everybody, for being here this afternoon. I'm doing this looking at all of you right now, but of course, this is how it looks like I'm looking at you. I appreciate you having the timing, being so generous with it to be here. And thanks also to those of you who took the time to answer those questions I asked. It helps me be able to serve you better and meet your needs. Just as Scott was alluding to, this is not a lecture, okay? It's a workshop. If you think I'm gonna talk for 2 hours, you're crazy. I got 3 hours tonight. I gotta talk to my students and my voice will be shot. So it's not a pure lecture, even though I'm talking now. It's gonna be an interactive thing that we're gonna be doing. So you're gonna actively participate. Great that you're on mute now. And so when you want to unmute to speak, that's great. That way we don't hear your dogs barking in the background or anything like that. I'm encouraging everybody to grab a pen and paper to have that handy, because if you're like me, you can't remember afterwards the stuff that you meant to say, and there's going to be a few things that are going to be valuable to you that you're going to want to write down, and you're not going to necessarily want to be watching the entire video afterwards to see what it was that was of value to you. Anything interesting you hear today, you don't want to rely on your memory for that. And even though I teach at a university, this isn't, again, it's not a lecture. What I'm going to offer today are suggestions on how you can be more effective in your career. So keep what applies to you and disregard the rest. You're not going to get tested on it later. Everything I'm offering is just for your benefit, so you can do it that way. If you have questions during this, you can use that little handy hand raise function down there if you want. It's under reactions, you can click the hand raise and that'll light up a little thing in the corner and I can see that. Or you can just wave your hand, or you can just unmute and ask me a question. That's fine. We'll also allow time for questions at the end, so everyone has a chance to have their needs met, their questions answered. Okay, we're going to start our active participation by finding out who's here today with us. So I'm going to call your name individually. Please unmute, introduce yourself, and briefly share what we should know about you. Okay, so I'm going to, by the way, what you're seeing here on the shared screen thing, if you want to pin that, you can, if that helps you to see that better. This is from my iPad. This is what I'm going to be sharing here. So we're going to do the tell us about yourself right now. Lissa, we're going to start with you because you smiled when I said that. So tell us all about yourself.
Thank you, Steve. My name is Lissa Dye, and I have been an active member of the Chamber for many years. I was a sales leader in the world of hospitality prior to COVID. Obviously, that got hit hard, so it kind of forced me to look outside of that industry into other sales leadership roles, which has been my primary job for the last several months, and that's been a great journey. But one of the things that has really stood true and something I've continued to study and just passionate about is leadership and mentoring and coaching people. So I'm excited about this seminar today.
Terrific. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Let's go to Jennifer. Jennifer Malone, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Malone. I am the founder and president of a company called Stella's Ride. We're a benefit corporation, so our goal is to make an impact on the community in addition to have profit. Some of you I know, good to see you. What we do, we're a tool for employee engagement. We connect your team with rescued dogs who need help finding a home. We arrange an outing to a park or outside your offices, spend about an hour getting to know everybody, and then we post pictures to social media in hopes of helping them find a home. So we offer it as a team building opportunity for anyone who's just looking for something a little bit different, a different kind of benefit to offer their team. That's
what was
Stella's
the name of your
Ride.
company again? What was the name of
Stella's
your company?
Ride. It's the name Stella is my dog, and it's called Stella's Ride, like riding the car, because she loves driving the car, like many dogs.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Let's go to Tracy next. Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, Tracy.
Hi, good afternoon. I know a bunch of you too. My name is Tracy Cox, and I am a cause entrepreneur with One Hope Wine. So I do wine tastings, I do fundraising, I do corporate gifting, all with a certain amount of give back to the cause of your choice, plus to the causes that we support through One Hope and our One Hope Foundation.
Terrific, thanks. Let's move on to Melinda. Melinda, I'm guessing you work with Synergy Global Housing, just a guess on my part.
Indeed, I do. So hi, everyone. And yes, some familiar faces. Nice to see you. And I am with Synergy Global Housing here as a business development manager. But here in this space today, I'm really looking forward to learning and just any opportunity that I have to expand upon what I'm doing and hopefully bring whatever we learn to my customers and clients and do that kind of that side of the house, but also just as personal self-improvement. So I'm really excited about the whole series. So thanks for doing this, and I'm glad to be here.
Terrific, thanks. Okay, Wendy, you're next.
Hi, everyone. Wendy Nystrom. So I own a company called Basher Productions. And through that, I do a weekly webcast called Environmental Social Justice, where we focus on new technologies and renewable energy, the environment, as well as social justice. And I've also expanded that to include something called Family Fridays, where I talk to families about what the environment means to them, to their children, changes they want to see, and also working with people who are selling new products that are environmentally friendly. So I do all of that in conjunction with the day job, which is environmental consulting for basically climate change and risk management.
Terrific, thanks, Wendy. Andres, tell us about you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andres Medrano. I've been in financial services for 15 years, and I've been able to shepherd hundreds of families in retirement and show them tax minimization strategies so they don't outlive their money. We've also set up 401k plans for companies the sizes of from 10 to over 150 employees. So we're really passionate about financial literacy and empowering individuals to be autonomous and independent financially and not being dependent on anyone else.
Fantastic. Robin, you're the last one.
Okay, I'm unmuting and okay, there's video. Hi, everybody. My name's Robin Miller. Nice to see everybody. I was in education for 30 years and I transitioned a couple of years ago to a new career as a studio artist. And I am working on building my brand identity and my personal story and my ability to summarize what I do in a nutshell so that I don't go on and on about my art philosophy and education philosophy and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing this. Thank you very much. Perfect.
Thanks, Robin. Don't unmute yet because I got some questions for you. Where did you teach?
I taught outdoor education and I taught at a middle school, outdoor education as a ski instructor and in Colorado, and indoors in a classroom, art education to middle school kids aged, well, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade for 15 years. So it kind of worked out half and half and it was great.
So my wife just retired after 39 years as an elementary school teacher. Wow. And she would agree with me. God bless you, middle school teachers. I don't know how you do it. That's the worst age. It's oh my God. It's
I absolutely
insane.
Loved it. Everybody has a gift proportionate to what they do. So I believe in callings, and that was my calling. And your wife, I mean, elementary school teachers are awesome. That's how we learn how to read and write and think, and they're amazing. So congratulations on your wife's retirement, and thank her very much for a job well done. I'm sure.
Thanks, Robin. Will do. You know, there's nothing worse. When the pandemic hit, I was trying to, it was March a year ago, and I was teaching my university class via Zoom, which, as you can tell, is not a huge problem. They were college students, but when you're trying to teach 23 first graders, my poor wife, there was a lot of this. All the kids messing around all the time. The poor thing, it's just insane. So she did retire at a good time. Lucky for her. Did I skip anyone? Did anybody add? Anyone jump along? Kelly, Sheila, and Scott, do you guys want to intro yourself, or do you feel you've done that already? I don't want to leave anyone out.
I'm good. I want to get rolling with what you have to say today. I want to learn something.
I'm in agreement with Sheila.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no one wants to talk about themselves. I get that. Okay, so let's, as I mentioned before, if you pin this, you can see the slides. Otherwise, I like to start almost every presentation I do these days with this. But just by show of hands, how many are familiar with Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why? It's transformative if you haven't read it yet. I think it's so great on so many levels. Obviously, 2- and 3-year-olds, they ask why all the time. It's the thing that they're always asking why, and it kind of forces you to re-examine why is it we're doing what we're doing. So I think it's got great insight into effective leadership, but from my standpoint, it's got great insight into motivation and effective marketing, because that's my background is a marketing person. So I like that. So one of the things, so there's going to be a lot of whys today. The first question is, why are you in business? Why do you work for the company you work for? Why did you choose what you're doing? Why is it you're doing what you're doing? Okay. Now, it could be a rhetorical question. In this case, it will, because you guys want to get into the content, which is fine. But it's always a good thing to think about. A lot of people say, I'm in it to make money. I'm in business because I'm trying to sell a product and make money and grow and do all that kind of stuff. That's fine. Anybody want to guess what the other answer is that people say why they're in business? I'm guessing Robin will know this one. Did Robin get into business to make money as an elementary school, as a middle school teacher?
Are you directing that specifically to me?
Yeah. No. Robin, why did you get into teaching?
Into teaching?
Yeah.
Because well, the short answer is, when I retired from ski instruction, I was going into advertising, and well, because I was going into advertising. I was in advertising for a couple of years. I was not compatible with that profession. And I then went to What Color Is My Parachute, did a few exercises, and realized that I can teach and I can make art. Hey, I can make art. I can teach art. So it was a second step towards being an artist. So I've been working my whole life to do the things that I love. And I'm an artist because it's the ultimate end of my career life, my professional life. And I taught art because it was a stepping stone to that end.
Right. So a lot of us pick careers because, you know, the people who go to college and major in business, they're doing the money thing, right? The people who end up in the arts or in education or other fields, they're there to help people, right? We're there to help other people. If you heard what Andreas said in terms of introducing himself, he's a financial person, but what did he say? Did he say, I'm here to make as much money as possible? No, he said, I'm here to help people make sure they don't outlive their money, right? So he's here to help people. And by the way, I strongly suggest when you're picking a financial advisor, pick somebody who has that in mind of helping you and not necessarily lining their own pockets. It makes a big difference. I know one group I'm a part of, they've got a lot of financial advisors. One guy used to be a deep sea diver, like a salvage diver, and then got into personal finance. The other woman used to be an elementary school teacher. Now, who am I going to trust more with my money? The guy who was like, hey, let me see if I can pull up a shipwreck and make money, or the woman who's like, I'm here to help people. That's where my confidence is. So that's kind of what I think there. So these are usually the two reasons why people are in business: to make money or to help people or serve your customers. Okay, that's the second thing. Right now, we're living in an age of information bombardment. It's unbelievable. So the question is, how do you stand out in a crowded field? And that's by differentiating yourself. You want to do something that makes you stand out. And the best way to do that is to build a brand. By the way, I just want to point out, sometimes there are things planned in life and sometimes there are coincidences. The yellow tulips here, just a coincidence. I did not buy those flowers to go with this background of yellow tulips. It just turned out that way. So sorry about that. So a brand, the best way to stand out is to build a brand. So let's talk about that. What is a brand? Let's quickly go around and tell me what you think a brand is. I'm going to start this time with Jennifer. Jennifer, when you hear the word brand, what does it mean to you? Just a quick whatever.
What does your company stand for?
Great. Tracy, how about you?
I was just going to say the similar thing to what Jennifer just said.
Great. How about you, Wendy?
I have the darndest time finding that mute button. So brand to me is like what individualizes you from everybody else with respect to your business.
Sure. Great. Lisa, anything else you want to?
Yeah, I guess it encompasses the values of the company or the person as well.
Sure. Melinda?
I would say the reputation is part of that. That if you know
reputation,
the reputation would go coincide.
Great. Andres, anything else?
What you stand for, a symbol who you are, what the company is, what you provide.
Yeah. There's one definition is it's a clear, powerful, compelling public image. There are certain people that say, you know, a brand is, when you have a strong brand, what's the thought that exists in people's mind when they think of you, which I think is pretty good. The notion of personal branding traces back to 1997 when Tom Peters wrote an article for the magazine Fast Company called "The Brand Called You." And then in 2005, Peter Montoya, he wrote and called it "The Brand Called You." Peter just kind of stole that concept, but he contends, in Montoya in this book, he contends that your brand is actually two things. It's who you are as a person and what you specialize in doing. I think that's valid. He says personal branding is about creating an identity that influences how prospects, customers, and decision makers perceive you, right? When they think of you, what do they think of? I like this better. Personal branding instantly reveals who you are, what you do, and how you create value. Nice and simple. The goal is to win attention, to grow your business, get that promotion. When people think of you, what do they think of? Hardworking and competent, creative, whatever it is. What exists in their mind when they think of you? Do they think troublemaker, inspiring? What are the words they think of when they think of you? So if you want to win attention, get that promotion, grow your business, here's how we do it. We do it with the 4 Ds of personal branding. You're going to hear these 4 Ds several times, so and you'll see them. So don't worry about writing them down. I just dropped my mouse. The 4 Ds are discover, differentiate, define, and disseminate. Okay. Discover means, who are you? What is your personal brand? Differentiate is, what makes you unique? Define, how do you articulate this clearly? And then finally, of course, disseminate, once you've done all the rest, how will you get that message out there? Again, stop. If I don't see a little yellow hand, I'm going to just keep on going. Okay. So we'll start with discover. Lao Tzu says, knowing others is intelligence, knowing yourself is true wisdom. So this is the kind of internal reflection we need to do to figure out, what am I really all about? Most of us are really good at working at our job. We're not good at thinking about how we stand in relation to things. I think a lot of you are pretty good at this. It sounds like a lot of you have done some self-reflection. So just based on how you introduced yourselves, which is great. But let's think about this for a second and kind of discover, as part of this process, let's determine what are your values, your passions, your strengths, your skills, and your expertise. We're going to stop here for 5 minutes and give you a chance to just write down, because remember I said pen and paper, write down, what are your values? What are some of your values? And Scott, you too, you Kelly, you Sheila, come on, we're all participating in this. What values are important to you? What are you passionate about? What are your strengths? What skills do people say you have? Or what expertise do you have? I'll give you 5 minutes for this. Okay, 2 more minutes. Or as we say in football, 2-minute warning. Okay, everybody just about done? Yeah, take 5 minutes to lay out all your values, your passions, your strengths. This whole self-evaluation, only 5 minutes. Look, obviously it's going to take longer than this, but we're at least starting down the path of thinking about this stuff. So obviously I would love to have you go home and think about this deeper, maybe take some time this weekend and just sort of flesh this stuff out, but at least it's a starting point for you. To think about what your attributes, what your abilities, what your expertise is. Who would like to share some of their skills, strengths, passions, values, and expertise? Andres, do you want to I ask for a volunteer, then I select a volunteer. Andres?
Absolutely. I think the values that I bring to the table to the world and society are integrity, candor. When it comes to passion, I love being able to sit down with someone and actually listen to them, like thoughtfully listen to them and hear them. You know, as an advisor, people think we talk, and the most critical function is to listen and solve problems and make friends. That's what I tell my clients. That's what I do. So to be able to walk someone that's worked at a company for 41 years as a doctor, and they're like, Andres, my wife worked another 30 years here. Here's 70 years of our net worth. You be a steward of it. And that requires a lot of it requires integrity. And it's either you have it or you don't have it. In telling them, look, you don't have enough, you have enough. So just really, when it comes to being passionate, it's about serving them and being direct with them and telling them, look, these are your options, these are the best options, and these are the services that we can offer you. When it comes to strength, I think my strength will be equipping my clients, equipping my teammates and my employees. The communication, I'm very clear on what I want, how I want it, when I want it. My skills will definitely be very resourceful. If I don't know the solution, I know what I know, but I know who knows what I don't know, and that's all I need to know. So you need an attorney. So I'm very, very resourceful for all my clients. Team building is really fun for me. And then my expertise really comes down to, I really don't know a lot about anything, but I know what I know, which is financial services. I know tax minimization strategies. I know how to just do really complex financial scenarios that are really cool when we get into the technical details of it, and you're able to explain that. So that would be that.
Thanks, Andreas. Gee, a man who listens. Gee, what a rarity. Okay, Melinda, what can you share with us that you came up with?
This is such a good timing for me for this. So I've got a kind of a list of words, but I think for the strengths portion of it, it's kind of a recurring word through all the bullets. For me, it's resourcefulness to find solutions. So I think it kind of boils down to that for me.
Okay, great. Tracy, what do you have? What can you share with us? What'd you learn?
I always hate writing stuff down about myself. That's my biggest thing.
We all do.
But and some of them are kind of like repeating things in like the same thing. Like my values are like my friendships, my honesty, dependability, passions are people, doing good, making the world a better place, working smarter, not harder. My other passion is my family, making sure I have time for my nieces and nephews, which is why I do what I do. Strength are I am straightforward, I'm honest, I'm trustworthy, I'm creative. I am strength in teaching my team how to find the answers instead of always just asking for them so they can seek out on their own. Skills, I'm pretty good with social media stuff. Canva is my jam. Teamwork and expertise. I think I just wrote down like I just started to get that one, and I was like, some computer skills, like, that's kind of where I just stopped.
Well, it's interesting going through this process. This exercise hopefully is helpful to everybody, because you go, oh yeah, I do that too. Oh, that's a good word. I should use that. So we're here to share and learn good things from each other. So, and by the way, I do have books I'm mentioning throughout the workshop today. One I didn't mention, I'm going to grab right now, because of what you said, Tracy. And this is a great book. Peggy Klaus wrote this book called Brag: The Art of Tooting Your Own Horn Without Blowing It. It is phenomenal. It's not that I've referenced it many times. There's just so much great stuff in here. Most of my clients are females, Wendy knows, because most of them have trouble talking about themselves, because we're taught just keep your head down. Don't just work. Don't show off. Don't brag. Don't be that person that gets attention. Just, and then you'll be able to get 70 cents on the dollar for every man. So it's not a good plan. We need to be able to speak up and to demonstrate what our worth is. No one's going to come around and we go, oh, you're great. Oh, we'll just do that. You have to speak up. And so I highly recommend this book. And it's pretty phenomenal. Okay, who didn't we cover? Lissa, what did you discover?
I think for values, integrity is huge for me, and just a sense of curiosity to always want to learn more. Of course, an alarm fire truck is going by my house as I say this. I really put a passion as developing relationships, as well as like training, coaching, and mentoring people to reach their full potential. And I also put, creating a culture that allows people to grow and succeed.
That's great. That's terrific. Good. Okay, Wendy, how about you?
So under values, just not to repeat everybody, one thing I wanted to point out was respecting other people's time, because I think everybody on this call, especially now with everything being Zoom, is you have people that don't show up, or they text you saying I'm running 10 minutes late, and you're just sitting there waiting. So I'm very cognizant to be on time and to respect someone else's time. Passion, it's always going to be the environmental stuff, pollution, liability. Strengths, I'm very good at teaching, educating, communication. Skills, very much not tech savvy, but I know a lot of technology behind the environmental world. And expertise, kind of like the same thing with me. Skills, expertise is hand in hand.
Yeah. We throw a different word in there in case you didn't. I thought this is a skill, but my expertise is in this. Okay, good. Jennifer, how about you? Anything?
I think for me, my values is first and foremost to be of service. I look at, everything I've done in my career has been, 20 years as an event producer, TV producer, and it's always been about giving to someone else and their enjoyment. So I think that's kind of like at my core as being of service. One of my strengths, kind of similarly worded, but my tagline for my company is called Fostering Connections. And I really feel like I do excel at that, just creating opportunities for people to connect with pets and kind of take a break from their daily environment. Skills, I'm pretty detailed. I'm really good at conveying information and making people feel very at ease when they participate in an event that I produce, that all the details, all their questions are answered. So really skills, passions, it's all kind of engaging, interactive experiences, very much about driven by emotion.
Okay, did I skip anybody? Who'd I leave out? I'm trying to go randomizing and I don't want to leave anyone out. Okay, so here's the other half of this. Obviously, I would love for you to go home and think about this deeper. And then when you come up with your list of all these things, ask other people. Ask a spouse or partner or loved ones close to you or just close friends. Ask them what they think are your strengths and your skills. What are you good at doing? When they think of you, what do they think? Coworkers, that's always good too. Because self-evaluation is very, very important. Hearing evaluation from other people, that's an important part to mix in as well. So put those two together, you get a more accurate picture of what it is you really are. It's so interesting. In our culture, we get to pick who we want to have to be married to. And in India, the parents pick and other people pick. It's, you know, the arranged marriages. And yet the happiness level seems to be just as high because people who know you really well, they know who would work for you. So I'm not suggesting you have someone else pick your life partner. I'm suggesting that other people have a perspective you may not consider that might be valuable. Okay, so that's that. All right, so that's the discovering. Okay, let's move on to the second D. We discovered. Now we're going to differentiate and talk about what makes you unique. There's a best-selling marketing author by the name of Mark Schaefer, and he says if you're trying to differentiate yourself, and he works a lot in the social media realm as well, he says the hardest thing I have people do is try to complete this sentence: only we blank. And he says a lot of people fill it out by only we make quality number one. Like, well, everybody makes quality number one. It's like, what makes you different from everybody else? Southwest did it by saying only we are the low-cost airline. That's what they wanted to have, the bottom line. That's how they branded themselves. I think Spirit Airlines has outdone them, but I think there are people that would argue about the cost and the value of a Spirit, but you get what we're going for here. So how do we differentiate ourselves? What's unique about what it is you do? So think about this, only we, if it's a company, or only I. And it's hard, but it's financial services. A lot of people in real estate, a lot of people are attorneys. What is it you do that sets you apart from others? To help with this, try this. Ask your best customers, or again, your best coworkers, why do they keep coming back to you? Why do they believe in you and refer you to others? And these are some of the categories that it might be. Is it because of the great selection you have, or the experience and years you have in the business? Or is it because of the long history you have together, or the history of your company? Or, you know, is it the price? Are you the low-cost airline? Is it location? Are they going to you because you're convenient? The dentist I go to is just 2 blocks away. That's not why I go to her. She's incredibly talented and hardworking and always learning new things, and she's amazing. That's why I go to her, but location could have been a choice. Is it the value? Is it the quality? Hopefully you want to have that to be one of the things people think about. Is it the personality of your environment, or you, or is it your reputation? Maybe it's many of those things. It's so funny because the example that Mark Schaefer gives in this differentiation is one company was a computer services group, and he thought, the guy who owned the company thought that it was because of the outstanding quality that they had of their technology was the best. And then in talking to their customers, they found out that no, it's because nothing ever goes wrong. So if you're selling yourself, you don't sell the technology, sell the security you provide. People don't have to worry about it with you, right? It's just, it's not an issue. Things are going to get taken care of. I had what did I do with that thing? What exists in people's mind? How do your customers think about you? That's, again, having other people weigh in on it is a good thing to do. How do your customers' responses compare to what you have? We are all not always the best barometers of how people perceive us and what their value is. So once you've discovered and differentiated, now here comes the fun part. It's time to write your brand positioning statement. This is a fill in the blank, okay? I am a, what is your role or title? Who, what is it you do? What's your value proposition? What's your competitive advantage? For who are your customers? Who's your target audience? And then why? So that they can, what's the need you fulfill or the problem you solve? I'll leave this up for a second. We're all going to fill this out. And I give you, just to help you, here's an example. Here's mine. I am a marketing and communications consultant who combines my experience in corporate management and higher education for businesses and solo entrepreneurs so they can market themselves more effectively and secure more clients. That's one example of it. So let's take 10 minutes to work on this one, okay? This is a biggie. It takes what your title is, who you are, what your value proposition is, what do you do differently from other people, who's your target audience, who are you doing this for, and why? What is it they can do as a result of that? So I'll set the timer for 10 minutes and we'll just all work on this. Oops, there we go. I'm actually on schedule. Oh, there it is. About 4 more minutes. Two-minute warning. Okay, if everybody's wrapping up, I think you'll notice that one of the things we're going for with this brand positioning statement is, how are you helping people? Who are you helping? And what value are you providing to the world? If you tell me what your occupation is, that's one thing. If you tell me how you're helping people, that has a lot more value to it. You know, when Andres again was saying how he helps people make sure they don't outlive their money. Oh yeah, it's concrete. That's something we can all think about that. And as the person you're talking to, why should I be glad it is you're doing what you're doing? Hey, Wendy's an environmental expert in social justice. Of course I want her to succeed. That's a really great calling. That's phenomenal. Jennifer's making sure that people are, you know, the dogs, like this is, you guys are in important things here. So you're adding great value to society. And so I'm the kind of person that wants to make sure that you're able to tell other people about it. All right, so let's share what it is you do. What did you come up for your brand positioning statement? Tracy, we'll start with you just because I feel like starting in that corner. I know, why me? We're all gonna go, Tracy. So
I know it's totally fine. I'm just like, I just have like all these like things running through my head. So, which is fine. So I was writing down and I was rewriting it right now. I said, I'm a cause entrepreneur with One Hope Wine who helps you enjoy, share, and gift award-winning Napa Valley wine that gives back to causes across the globe, including causes you are passionate about.
That's good. I missed the first 3 words you said. You're a what?
I'm a cause entrepreneur.
Cause entrepreneur. Okay. That's a term that people aren't going to be familiar with. So you need to make sure that you're really expressing that. Andres knows that there are words that that are important. I work with him, and we go to the same church, and in terms of reading scripture, there are a lot of tongue twisters in scripture. It's like, why did St. Paul write it that way? So, or weird biblical places you're not used to hearing. So we need to make sure that when we're using a term other people aren't familiar with, that we say it carefully. So a cause entrepreneur, great. That's pretty good. What do you guys think of that? Is that conveying what she does? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Good. And by the way, if we have any suggestions for how you could say it even better, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and help make it better. That's the goal. Okay. All right. Let's go. Wendy, how about you?
Let me pull it up. So this is more like the consulting side of things. So I'm an environmental subject matter expert who has 20 years of experience in environmental risk management for multi-billion-dollar construction, real estate, and manufacturing companies, so they can make educated decisions on legal liability and coverage with respect to pollution, climate change, and sustainability.
An environmental risk manager, right? You're helping those companies not make the big mistakes and keep things cleaner. That's great. Yeah, that's kind of worthwhile. That's a good thing, I think.
It can be very expensive if you don't have the right thing.
Right. And so that's kind of a crucial point to bring across too. You're going to save people a lot of money. It's like, let's make things happen effectively and efficiently. Okay, terrific. We're racing through these. Jennifer, how about you? Tell us about.
Sure. I'm founder and president of Stella's Ride, who combines my passion for helping rescue dogs with my background in producing engaging and interactive events to provide businesses of 5 or more employees the opportunity to experience the power of the human-animal bond.
Ah, the power of the human-animal bond. I like that. Tell me more. So that's, if that's your lead-in and someone says, tell me more, what do you follow that up with?
I follow that up with, so we bring together teams of people and rescued dogs, and we help them get to know each other. We foster a connection between them. And then we, as a team, band together to help them find a home.
That's great. So, it's kind of a cascading thing that you lead in with the brand positioning statement is kind of a jumping off point for what your pitch is. And we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, Lisa, sorry. I took out one of your S's there. Sorry about that. Lisa, what's your brand positioning statement?
I'm used to it.
I'm sure.
So my statement was, I am a sales leader who takes a personal interest in providing support and solutions through my product knowledge and sales expertise to both internal and external customers so that they can meet and exceed goals.
Okay. All right, great. So you can meet, okay. All right. My suggestion would be you could make that last part a little more concrete. Meet and exceed goals. It's like, yeah, everybody good, but you put more money in their pockets, so they're trying to do. So
right.
that's we want to be as concrete as possible.
So if you could just add like initiative, objective and revenue goals, like just
could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Could be. Read it to me one more time, Lisa.
I'm a sales leader who takes a personal interest in providing support and solutions through my product knowledge and sales expertise to both internal and external customers so that they may meet and exceed their personal goals.
Okay. So the tell me more in that instance would be, can you be more specific about what companies you're helping, what you do, and that kind of stuff? So that's where you'd want to follow up with specifics. Okay.
I see.
If I tell people that I help people tell their stories better, they're like, Are
Yeah.
you a children's reading expert? What are you? No, I'm a marketing communications consultant.
Right.
So the first part is to intrigue, and then you want to invite that. Tell me more. So
Right.
that's the
I
goal
think
behind
that I didn't include enough of a competitive advantage in that.
Yeah, I think you could do that. It's funny. I was thinking about so if somebody came to you and said, "What does you do?" I help people sleep better at night. What occupation is that? Is that a mattress salesman?
It could be a mattress salesman, a pharmaceutical rep, or a doctor, or a massage therapist, a hypnotist. It could be
Andres?
right.
Massage therapist.
No, how about a financial advisor? Come
Advisor.
on.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Financial
Yes.
advisor? No.
A police officer, come on. Yeah, it's like there's a whole bunch of things. How do I help
Yeah.
people? I help you sleep better at night. Why? By making sure you're not worrying about your finances.
Yeah.
To make sure you're insured properly, so in case something bad happens, you're taken care of. Because I devise security systems to make sure your home is safe from intruders. Okay, so there's all sorts of things. We all want to sleep better at night. How do you get that done? Okay, that could be one way in. So I just wrote those down as I thought would be a fun thing to think about, different occupations that could all be under the same thing. Okay, Andreas, tell us your brand positioning statement. You help people sleep better at night by.
Indeed I do. I'm an agency owner of a financial services practice where we represent some of the top investment and insurance companies in the country for our clients, so that they can have more than just wealth, but also achieve real peace of mind.
So your target audience is too vague right now. Clients, are you focused on newlyweds, retirees, anybody? So specific is terrific, vague is the plague. Where do you want to focus on? So we can refer people to you. That's what we want to know.
Got it. So our target market has always been baby boomers and retirees. There's 10,000 of them retaring every day.
I'm a big fan of baby boomers. I'm married to one and am one. So
there you go. You're in the demographic,
yes.
Steve.
But here's the thing: include that in your brand positioning statement, and then what eventually becomes your pitch. That way, people know who to think when they think about you. Who are they trying to head your way? I mean, I know some people are. They're one woman I was talking yesterday with a woman who's in real estate, and she deals in probate. Okay, that's exclusively what she does. She's not doing high-end properties. She's the person when someone passes away saying, "Oh, did you want to sell the property?" Okay, that's good to know, as opposed to someone else who's on what's the show my wife's watching, the Selling Sunset, okay, with the high-end fabulous, Real Housewivesy kind of thing. So being specific out there is helpful. All right, who didn't we get to? Melinda, we haven't done you. And Robin, and do we do? Yeah, okay. Melinda, you go first.
Okay. I am a corporate housing specialist who enjoys uncovering challenges and exploring successes in housing programs for domestic and international companies so they can hire and retain top talent, ensuring positive relocation experiences and employee productivity.
Great. Tell me more.
So, when companies need to move a group of people or maybe a single person because their expertise is needed from one location to the next, we can help make that landing in their next city a little bit softer experience by having a home away from home ready when they land in the city that they're going to.
I love that term. It's a softer experience. Yeah, you're making people's lives better by letting them just worry about the job they need to get done, not where they're going to live and what all the details of that. That's phenomenal. So that's something we can relate to. That's terrific. Great. Okay. Who didn't we do? Robin, we haven't done you, and who else? Who's left? Just Robin? Okay, Robin.
Okay, I am a landscape artist who interrogates the visible world in terms of goodness, truth, and beauty for art collectors who want to make their home a refuge and seek personal development and social engagement through the arts so they can understand themselves, others, and society so that they can understand themselves, others, and society, and also to develop theirs and others' lives.
So what's the first thing you said was you're a landscape artist? Is that what you said?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because the first thing I thought of was, oh, great, I've got some bougainvilleas I like to place over here and something else there. And I don't think that's at all what you do, is it?
Mm-mm.
So,
No.
so I heard landscape architect when you were saying landscape artist, because you paint landscapes.
Mhm.
So it might be helpful to say, I'm an artist who works in landscapes as opposed to landscape artist, if that's a weird, that's my
I
suggestion
understand.
for,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's so funny, communications, we think communication is the transmission of information. It's not. It's the transmission and then successful reception of that information, and it's all dependent upon the receiver. So what they thought they heard is what the communication is. And as I get older and start losing my hearing, it's hilarious the things I mistake my wife that I think she's saying to me that's completely different. But you want to make sure that the person listening understands what it is that you're saying and crafting it in ways that are accessible to them. So shoot it to me one more time. Now that I've got the landscape architect out of the way and it's landscape artist, where artist works in landscapes, give it to me one more time, please.
I'm an artist who works in landscapes, who interrogates the visible world in terms of goodness, truth, and beauty. For art collectors who want to make their home a refuge and seek personal development and social engagement through the arts in order to understand, or so they can understand themselves, others, and society, and to develop theirs and others' lives. In order to develop theirs and others' lives.
Okay. Any suggestions? Anybody want to offer a suggestion for movement? Tracy, go.
I have absolutely no idea what any of that means.
Yeah.
I just want to say from my perspective, it was really intense. Leave your camera on. It was really intense, especially when you say interrogate.
Interrogate.
All of a sudden brings me into oh, who are you interrogating? Are you FBI? I thought you were a landscape painter. Like, why are you interrogating? It was like, whoa, too many words that were missing for me on that. And I was like, okay, I still didn't get that you are an artist and you're a painter.
But are you also through your arts helping people explore themselves and grow others through your art?
I think we've lost focus in the art world for what art is supposed to do. I believe it's more about the viewer than it is about the artist, and it's more about bigger issues than just the artist's issues. And so what I'm saying is that to have something that's beautiful in your home is in itself, it makes you better.
Yeah.
Contemplating beauty makes you better, and it helps you be a better person, so that you in turn can, if we want to put it in terms of what we've been talking a lot about, that is my service to society, is to contribute beauty.
Mm-hmm.
So are you a painter?
Yes.
And landscapes are what you typically paint?
Right.
Can you say
almost bringing
painter
Tracy.
Colors, or
I almost feel like it's bringing back an appreciation or something that is missing. I mean, that is your cause.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robert, I totally agree with you that art is about, the person who's seeing it, not about what the artist intended. That kind of ties into the whole thing I was saying earlier about communication. And I think those are some good suggestions. Landscape painter is more descriptive than landscape artist, because artist now, look, you're an artist, right? Oh, but so is that actor over there. He's an artist, and I'm a so-and-so artist. That term gets thrown around and just, it's not great. I wrote down right after you were done speaking, and then you ended up saying it is, you bring beauty into people's homes, don't you? And therefore you improve their lives. Okay, so think about concreteness. How can you express that in that way? Sheila, did you have a suggestion?
The word perpetuate keeps coming up for me when you're talking about that. I was thinking ripple effect, and then I came up to perpetuate, right? So it's not just the beauty that the person is absorbing through looking at the art, but then it is what they do with that and how that ripples out and perpetuates into the world, if that helps.
Yeah, I think we want to be as specific and concrete in the word choice that we make to make sure that communication is clear to other people. So if you're talking about creating this perpetual, loop of good experiences, I bring beauty in people's homes, they experience it. Now they've filled with that beauty, they go out and share that in the world. Yeah, now it becomes this perpetual thing. So keep playing around with that and see how. And by the way, I think a good pitch is kind of like a good stand-up comedian's routine in that, look, every comic, they just don't write a bunch of jokes and go out and perform for a Netflix special. They work them in small clubs over and over for weeks and weeks and weeks to see what works, what doesn't work, constantly refining and honing. You're going to do the same thing with how you talk about what it is you do. I know it's work, but that's how you get to the point where you connect with people and they can understand what it is you're doing. And more importantly, for yourself, you're defining what it is I do. Oh, and so, because when I left Warner Brothers and I was being a consultant, I was like, I'll consult any business for anything. And then time goes by and my clients determine what my business is going to be. I'm focusing mostly on really highly intelligent, capable female professionals who are trying to move ahead and get their, reposition themselves. That's just naturally who came to me. I have some male clients too, but most of them are women I'm happy to help. So as a straight white Christian male, I've got a lot of obstacles that have not been put in my way, others have. So I'm here to help other people surmount those obstacles that are in their way. And a lot of people, just because of their gender, just because of their sexual orientation or their skin color or their religion or whatever, people start going, no, 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 no. So I'm here to get the value out of all those people so they can present themselves and speak up for themselves so they can add the value they have to the world, so they can save the planet. Environmental, thank you, Wendy. Or they can make people have secure financial futures. Thank you, Andreas. Forget what I said about working with women. There's so much that needs to be done, and we all need to be in there working together. So that's what and my skill is not, I don't know environmental law, right? But if I can help Wendy convince people that she's the person to go to for environmental law, great. Environmental regulations, she's got the expertise, good. I can help her tell her story about it. That's what I'm here to do. Who did we not get? Did we get Jennifer? Did you give us did we cover everybody? Okay. Yes. Okay. I should have a check mark here to make sure who goes through, because it's tough. So there are other models to use to craft your pitch. Again, as I said, this is kind of a jumping off point, having a brand positioning statement. You're beginning to get an idea of who you are, what do you do differently, who do you serve, who are your customers, who's your target audience, and then why are you doing it, what result are you trying to get for them, so that they can be successful, because that's why they're going to hire you, right? They want to hire you or promote you or hire your company based on what it is you can do for them. All right. So let's move on now. We're ready to move on to the next D, the third D. We've got 4 of them to go. Next one is define. How do you articulate this clearly? You want to create a memorable tagline for yourself. That's very, very helpful. Another book I'm a big fan of is the Heath brothers. Chip and Dan Heath wrote this book called Made to Stick, and why some ideas survive and others die. All right, Sheila knows it. Show of hands, who's familiar with it? I've told it's very impolite to ask who's read this book. So I'm not asking who's read it. Who's familiar? Who's heard the concept? Okay, just to get a sense of it. Again, it was a New York Times bestseller. The Heath brothers are pretty fantastic. They've written a bunch of stuff. This one in particular talks about that idea of what makes a person or an idea memorable or sticky. And they have a formula that comes out. It's simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional stories. That's what they have. I'm not going to go through all 6 of those things. How it applies to us is, I think there are 3 things to think of when it comes to making things stick: alliteration, rhyming, and things that are concrete. These 3 things seem to be what stick in our minds. We retain them really well. I'll give you an example of real world examples of each of these. Alliteration, we know what that is when you have the same letter or same sound that starts all three words. So a friend of mine, Kit Cole Consulting, right? Wendy knows. That's great. Kit Cole Consulting, not the same letter, but the same sound all three times. Rhyming. One of my friends is Sam Lamb, the insurance man. Every time he introduces himself, Sam Lamb, the insurance man, State Farm agent. Great. You can't forget Sam. He's got a wonderful personality too, but he got lucky with the rhyming of his name and then decided, let's make my slogan rhyme as well. So Sam Lamb, the insurance man. And then concrete, Apple computers, not Compaq, not whatever else. It's like Apple computers. That's a real live tangible things. Macintosh, Apple, we can think of those things. So here's where we open it up and have you think of other products and things that, what do you guys, what brands can you think of that are concrete or that rhyme? Bob Loblaw's Loblog. Thank you, Scott.
I have one. Ace is a place for the helpful handyman.
Ace is the place with the helpful. And by the way, jingles. I'm in advertising, right? Jingles are wonderful. It's that repetition of sound going over and over again. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware person. They had to change it. It was man, and now they had to change it, of course. But this is the stuff that sticks in our head, right?
Nationwide on your side.
Nationwide is on your side.
Mm-hmm.
Rhyming. This stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
That's insurance too, isn't it? Rhyming. Insurance likes the rhyming things.
Okay.
Better Call Saul. Of course, the lawyer there is Saul Goodman. Doesn't rhyme, but it's all Goodman. It's all good, man. That's what that plays into. So just little things that will catch and stick in people's minds. By the way, I don't know if any Breaking Bad fans out there or not. Better Call Saul is an excellent continuation of it. I regret that I waited so long after finishing Breaking Bad before starting Better Call Saul. It's pretty good. Intense, but whatever. Okay, so that's the third D in this is defining it. How can you hone what it is you're doing? Garen, you're probably not going to come up with something rhyming necessarily, but is there a device you can use to help make you stand out from other people in this regard? That's a huge thing to do. And then finally, the last D we have is disseminate. How do you get the message out there? We've discovered what it is we're doing. We've thought about what makes us unique by differentiating. We've defined ourselves by articulating clearly what it is we do, and differentiate and define kind of go hand in hand there. What did I do differently? Now, how can I tell people about it? The defining is, how can I really make that concrete in people's minds so they think of me when it comes to insurance? I'm going to go to Sam Lamb, the insurance man. That's helpful. Now, here's the crucial thing, disseminating. How are you going to get the message out there? Let's talk about using the tools of communication. There's a lot of tools of dissemination to communicate your message. What are the most common ways that you guys can think of determining your message? I'm going to write them down. Go ahead. Just unmute and throw it out there. Go ahead, Tracy, you're unmuted. What's a good way to get your message out there?
Social media.
Social media, first thing on everyone's mind. Okay, social media, what else?
Referrals.
Referrals, okay, great.
Networking groups, chambers.
Networking groups. Oops, sorry, I spoke over you, I'm sorry. Networking groups, what?
I said fantastic chambers like LAX Coastal.
Yes. Sorry, Scott and Sheila, I stepped on the plug. I'm so sorry. Sherry's giving you I walked all over it. Sorry, networking groups. Okay, what else?
Friends and family.
Say again, Sheila?
Friends and family.
Friends and family.
And I guess like marketing and solicitation, is that?
Okay, when you said that, what are you referring to exactly?
Well, marketing could be, I guess, social media, but also, you know, gosh, through the mail or, you know, old time marketing.
Mail. Sure,
yeah.
Sure,
yeah.
Sure, those kind of things. Okay.
Creative.
Anything else?
I should say creating awareness through solicitation.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? What have we left out?
For me, it's direct connect with the customers or prospects. I'm out there prospecting and I'm putting the message out in front of people whenever they'll listen.
Okay, good, Melinda. All right, that's great.
There are also some online networking that you can do, like Alignable, obviously social media being LinkedIn, but it's a different type of networking.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kelly. Here's some I wrote down, I thought of. Obviously, your pitch, your elevator speech. How about this? Oops, a business card. How many of you have business cards? Raise your hand if you have a business card. Do you remember when we used to be with people in person and you could actually hand a business card to somebody? Ah, the good old days. Well, still, business cards are still valuable to have because we are going to be in person once again. Plus, physically mailing it to somebody, not a bad idea too. They have a tangible, concrete, physical thing to deal with. I think that's a really important thing to do. In the class I teach, our guest speakers are always talking about the value of handwritten thank you notes to people, right? You get an email all the time, you get a text from somebody, maybe you see something on Instagram, but a written letter, oh my gosh, I mean, or a note, that's fantastic. Everybody takes those. I have letters that were written to me 40 years ago from coworkers that were just lovely, that were just, I hung on to them all that time. So that's something you cannot minimize the impact of the tangible physical things to have. How about a web presence? We didn't mention websites. That's a good way to get message out there. So how many of you have websites for your companies, organizations? Yes, of course. You don't think about that. That's part of your strategy that's a tool for dissemination. And if you don't have a website, and even if you do, LinkedIn profile is good to have, right? It's an easy way for people to find you. When I left Warner Brothers years ago, I worked with an outplacement group, and they were saying that we always think of LinkedIn as Facebook. It's just a social thing. And they said, no, it's not Facebook, it's Google. It is all this information that's being shared, and that's how you need to think of it, not as who my people are, but it's how people are going to find you as well. So having a really robust LinkedIn profile is really crucial. Plus, even if people aren't finding you that way, and by the way, I've only gotten one client based on LinkedIn. No shock, it was a tech company in San Francisco found me because why would they talk to human beings? They would just do a search online. But everybody's going to verify you there. I heard about somebody. Let me just go online, check on LinkedIn what this person's like.
Yeah.
If your LinkedIn profile isn't complete, if you got that generic banner behind you and a photo where obviously you've cropped other people out of it because you happen to think you look good that day. My hair looked nice, I'll take that picture. And as opposed to a professional photo, that sends a message about you. Or if stuff isn't complete, or you don't have a good about section so people can figure out quickly who you are. That's really, really important. And then of course, other social media, we talked about that, Facebook and Instagram. How many of you are using Facebook for business purposes, not personal, but for business purposes? How many of you are doing that? Okay. And how effective is that for you, Jennifer? What's your engagement?
Well,
like?
I'm a year, but let me start again. I was supposed to launch a year ago. I have yet to launch my company. So, but my choosing when I started the company was I was only going to focus on Facebook and LinkedIn because those were the only two that were really powerful and connecting with my brand and my audience.
Okay, great. And who else had their hand up? Was it Tracy? Yeah.
Yeah, I use Facebook all the time. Instagram is much more where I'm focused on now. Facebook's a little bit harder because of the algorithm. If you have a Facebook page, it's like it's not as good. People don't see it as much, but I do get people who join my team from Facebook, and I only have it actually too, so I can do Facebook ads. So then that way I can share the information that way as well.
Have you found that Facebook ads is effective for you? Have you gotten a better response?
On certain things, like I boosted a post, or I did a specific ad for just around the neighborhood, actually, for a wine fundraiser that I was doing. And I had a couple people buy, I think just from that, from just seeing it. sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. There's some little nuances of stuff that I'm going to try out. So, I mean, you know, I don't spend a ton of money on it because I'm an independent consultant or rep. So I don't have a ton of money to spend, but I equate it to I'm not spending gas driving. So I can throw a couple dollars, you know, and see what happens in a local spin. So
As a person who's got a marketing background, I know that you don't just pick one platform to put your message out there. So people go, Facebook, that's the answer to everything. No, it's not. Instagram, it's the answer to everything. No, it's not. LinkedIn, it's the answer. No, it's not. You have to pick and choose what's effective for you. Okay, what works best. Of these tools, which would you consider is the most important? If you look at these, how would you rate them? Which one would you think is the most important?
I say elevator speech.
Jennifer's elevator speech. How about you, Lissa? What do you say?
I say web presence.
Web presence. Okay. Wendy?
Sorry, I was just pulling up something for Tracy. I'm going to put it in the message box. There's something called Facebook Ads Audience Insights where you can actually do keyword searches on what your audience is. And you want to find a smaller audience so you don't blow your funds immediately. I'm just learning about this myself.
I'm unfortunately I'm focusing on you guys and I'm not paying attention to the chat, so I missed the joke about Barry Manilow. State Farm is there. Yes, it's he does. I've seen him in concert so many times you wouldn't believe it. My wife, huge fan, and he does a whole medley of
you're a fan of Low.
Yeah, yes, no, she's a fan of Low. I'm a go along a Low. I don't know. Although I tell you, I could go downstairs and bring you a picture of me and my wife and Barry Manilow together after a concert. It's a photo. It looks terrific with my mother-in-law. It looks like my mother-in-law and Barry Manilow are dating. It's like the way he's got his arm around her. We know that's not true, but yeah, he's pretty great. And business cards may not be environmental friendly, but come on, it's what isn't. All right. So back to our subject. Oh, Sheila, you got a comment.
I was wondering if the answer to that question, which one is most important, might be depending on who your target audience is. For me, Facebook is not as important as LinkedIn is. So I'm just wondering if it really depends on who you're trying to reach.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. Andres, where do you weigh in of these? Which one do you think is?
I mean, for us, we barely have a website, no LinkedIn, no social media. We have business cards, but what's worth is a pitch. And I have clients of mine that are really overt. They're like, look at my statement, look what my financial advisor got me. And that's like, that works really well in disseminating the message. So we really want to get into the online presence and figuring that beast. But for us, it's always been elevator pitch. But we're definitely working on all the other strategies.
Okay. Anyone else? Melinda, Tracy, anyone else want to weigh in? You don't have to if you don't want to.
I think it all starts with the elevator pitch. So one way or the other, that's your first impression. And that's where you're going to put that or some variation of the elevator pitch in all of those locations, I would hope.
Yeah, I totally agree. I agree with those. You said the pitch is important because a business card's a nice thing to have, but you're only going to get that across to somebody after you've spoken to them. And web presence and LinkedIn profile, these are all great things. You have to have a good pitch. I mean, we're not calling it elevator speech anymore because no one wants to get into an elevator with anyone. Confined spaces, we don't want that. And we'll have to practice giving our pitch with a mask on. There are other sort of templates and models to use for giving a pitch because we just came up with a brand positioning statement. We didn't really work on the pitch thing. We didn't have time for that today. But I maintain the pitch is really important because no matter where you are, what you're doing, knowing what it is and how you can communicate that to other people is really crucial. A pitch is really important. That can then be tweaked to become your about on your LinkedIn or your summary on your resume. It should be very consistent throughout, but they each have different things about them, but the pitch is really important. And if you doubt me, think for a second how effective a pitch is. Who can identify who does what? A lot of you know each other, but what was the pitch that stuck with you? Who knows what everybody does an hour and a half after you've met each other? What sticks through? Do you remember Sam Lamb, the insurance man? Oh yeah, and he's not even part of this call, right? So if you were forced to write down, what does Andres do? What does Tracy do? What does Lisa do? We've been talking about it even. So that's what you want to do. You want to be sticky as possible and have a pitch that really resonates and is memorable for other people. Okay. So when it comes to disseminating your message, which is what we're talking about, repetition is key, as is consistency in branding. I want to make it's really important that whatever you're doing on all platforms. You're using similar language in your pitch. Your business card looks the same. You notice that the logo on my business card obviously is the same as what's on my graphics on what I'm presenting there. You want to make sure you're very consistent so you keep the same font, same color palette, the same terminology, no matter what your platform is. Those of you who are early Apple users, I marveled at the fact that when you received an Apple computer and bought it, the graphics, the lettering, the font choice, the typeface that was on the packaging was the same that was used in the ads for Apple, to let you know it's a seamless experience, start to finish. This is the product, that's what you're used to. That's very valuable, right? If you come up with a typeface that is yours, you want to use that across all your elements. So there's nothing worse than seeing somebody who has a marketing piece, a print page that they send out, and it doesn't comport to their website, or it doesn't comport to what their business cards are. Keep the colors the same, keep the terminology the same, keep your color palette similar. So it's one seamless experience as you go from start to finish. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, all right. So I mentioned 3 books. These 3 books, I didn't put the graphic of this one in, so I'm going to hold it up for you in case anybody wanted to write down Peggy Klaus's book, which is fantastic. I suppose we could do links for all these as well, but come on, you know what Amazon is, you know how to access these things. These are the books that I swear by. You've got a brand positioning statement. You've started to examine a little bit. Like any good university professor, I've given you homework already. I want you to delve deeper into the tasks earlier given to you in terms of thinking about what your values and your expertise and your mission is, and then start talking to other people about it. Go to your loved ones, go to your coworkers, ask them, what is it, when you think of me, what do you think of? And are these, compare the 2 together. Talk to your customers, the people that work with you. What do they like about you? Why do they come to you? This is what's going to be helpful for you. And now we're going to open up for questions. What did I race through that was too fast? What would you like more clarification on? Who wants to go over their brand positioning statement word by word? We can do that too.
I have a question.
Go, Tracy.
I'll be the talker.
Thank you, Tracy.
I would really like to go back to Robin's statement, just because I really want to know completely like what it is that you do, because I wrote you a little private note, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but I just want to know. I'm like, I really got to figure out what she does now, because I really want to position it.
Oh, Tracy, that's awesome. I'm now reading your note. Commission paintings to help people be surrounded by, yeah, and what speaks to their soul. That's awesome. I have taken commissions, and right now I'm just working on several series. And to have oops, I moved my phone, so I was looking in the wrong spot to the camera. I'm right now finishing up a body of work for my first show, which was supposed to be in 2020. There's my own work, and then there's work that people hire me to do, I guess is the answer to your question.
Okay. My question to Robin, just so when we were talking about it, I wrote her and I said, Robin, are you an artist who does commission paintings to help people be surrounded by beauty and what speaks to their soul? Because it was kind of like we were kind of going that way with her conversation. That's why I wasn't sure exactly how her as a commissioned artist and what she gives people, if she's working with them one-on-one to do a painting in the house, or that's why I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know,
Steve, you're gonna have to hire Tracy.
you know, here's the thing. I was on a podcast last month and we were talking about, you know, the importance of seeking help and not trying to do it all yourself. And too many of us think, I'll do it all. And no, hire an expert, get the people who are going to help you do what you need to do, and get your team together. And there's good advice comes from everywhere. When we remodeled our house, I got advice from a buddy of mine who had done it with his house. The neighbors across the street had a suggestion. The people next door, I got an idea from them. We had an architect. It's like, get ideas from whoever. So Tracy, we're very generous to offer Robin that help. And I think groups like this are really important in terms of helping other people, right? When you're giving and helping other people, you're going to get back more than you're giving. It's always great, but that's how you can gain for yourself. But more importantly, isn't this what we're here for? Is to help other people and to listen to people's suggestions. And you're all doing it with a very good intent. No one's trying to one up anybody or go, I've got the right answer. There's no right answer. There's a process we go through to get to where we want to be, to improve ourselves and to make ourselves more effective. Because every one of you does something that's really important. Wendy is trying to save the environment. Andres is trying to make sure people sleep well at night and are financially secure. Melinda, she's trying to make sure that people who get new jobs don't have to worry about all that shit that goes with moving. I mean, that's really important. So this is the kind of stuff, Rob is trying to bring beauty into people's homes, and it's like, so what you guys are doing is really important. Know that you don't have to do it all by yourself. You can get people to assist you and help you and make it easier for you. So that's the goal. By the way, we should all make sure that we LinkedIn each other and seek each other out on LinkedIn. I will admit to you, I committed the cardinal sin yesterday on LinkedIn. Because I was doing it from my iPad, it said, hey, your friend Rick just joined LinkedIn. You want to connect? I went, yeah, I'll connect. I went, but great, we sent a request. Like, no, from the iPad, it sends the generic request. Don't ever do that. Click on do it from your desktop and do the custom note that goes along with it that says, hi, we met on that great seminar that Steve Domier gave on LAX Coastal Chamber of Commerce. Would love to connect with you. That's a personalized invitation, right? That's going to get a better response. And that also kindly reminds the person who you're requesting it of who you are and why they should connect with you. So that's the value of LinkedIn is linking with people that you know and respect, and that you're willing to help as much as you're expecting them to help you as well. What other questions do we have, since you're all going to be hammering me with your LinkedIn requests? So what I do with my students in my class is we have guest speakers each night, and my students are forced to read the bio of the guest speaker and then craft 3 questions for the guest speaker. So in case there's a lull, the guest speaker just point to somebody and go, okay, give me one of your questions. And that happened 2 weeks ago. I had a guest speaker who didn't have a presentation. He goes, okay, what are your questions? It's like, thank God I'd done that, because try and fill an hour and a half with no presentation. It was tough. See, here at the end, we saved 10, 15 minutes for questions.
I have a question for Melinda, go ahead.
Thank you. Didn't mean to jump in there. So in the defining section, with the rhyming, I'm not quite sure what rhymes with Melinda. But I'm thinking something like, Melinda seeker of blah, 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 something like that. Like, could it just be clever, or does it need to be rhyming?
There is no need to be in any of this. These are just, again, as I started off, these are suggestions that could help. Some of the things that the Made to Stick guys noticed was alliteration, rhyming, repetition, being concrete. That helps stick in people's minds. So whatever phrase you come up with that is memorable, that's what's going to work. I don't want you twisting yourselves into shape thinking I need to rhyme something. Andres Medrano, he'll help you tomorrow. Don't hurt yourselves here. So what is it you're all about? And then if you own a company or you're a solo entrepreneur, what does your company do? So the personal, again, is this building your professional brand, building your personal brand, building your individual brand? The answer is yes. So think about who you are first, and then you can go from there. The slide that you see right now, what is my email address? Gosh, it's hard to forget. It's steve@stevedomier.com. Can't mess that up. My website, stevedomier.com. It's like, you own your brand. If you haven't done this yet, I highly encourage everybody to go to GoDaddy and get your own name as a domain name before someone else steals it from you, because you want to own that. You own your brand. You are you. As both Tom Peters and Peter Montoya said, it's like, you are your brand. So own your name online.
Good question. So I
Go,
put
Wendy.
in the chat box just something I came up with for like a slogan or something, finding your solution to pollution. Would you put that on LinkedIn, or where would you put this?
It depends. Wendy, for you, it kind of depends on your clients. I think that's kind of a catchy thing. I'm finding a solution to pollution. That's Jesus Christ. Look at that. That's rhymes. Well done. Well done. You must have had a good person to help you. I think that she's a client. Okay.
He's awesome. Saved my resume on LinkedIn.
Why didn't I come up with that one for you? But see, again, I'm not here to give all the answers. I'm here to teach you to fish. So you guys come up with the answers and can make this. Look, Wendy's going to be revising her LinkedIn for years to go from now, and websites and all this stuff. You guys are, I'm hopefully giving you the tools you're going to take to now, I've taught you how to do it. You're going to go out and do it for yourselves and make it better. I'm here to assist if you need me, of course. But to answer your question about where would you use that, if you're not comfortable using that in print or on LinkedIn, that's something that could be part of your pitch. What do? I provide the solution to pollution. What? That's a great opening line. Yeah. I'm an environmentalist. Okay, this is what I do. So I think that's a winner. What do you guys think? Thumbs up? Is that a? Yeah, that's a home run, Wendy.
Thanks.
Jeez.
Steve, now that we have your information, I'd like to ask one question, if I may, of the group, and maybe we can get two people to answer this question, or three, if we have it. What is something that you didn't think about that Steve brought today, and you had a true like, oh my gosh, I wasn't even considering that? So what's one thing that came up today in the last hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes that you thought, oh my gosh, I really never thought about that? Oh, Tinkerbell. I don't know.
I'll go. This is Lisa. I think when you're building your brand positioning statement, what I learned is really the importance of being specific. I think that mine was kind of more of an overarching sentence, but to really hone in on the specific and to ensure that everyone understands the value of your proposition, I guess.
Absolutely, and helpful for all of us, for sure. Thank you, Lisa. Two more.
What I received from this amazing webinar is, as entrepreneurs, we're good at different things, but we don't focus on those details that if we really put it together, those details are going to add up, and the sum of that's going to be remarkable. So we're satisfied with that and dissatisfied with a lot of things that we have to go back and look at and consult with the team, with my wife, because I work for her. She's the CEO. I work for her. So I'm a smart person here. But no, that was really just a really fresh perspective to see these are the details. These are the things you can improve on, and that's going to make you more efficient, more effective in delivering the message and really helping folks, which is what we're in business for.
Absolutely. And think about the number of times that somebody has asked you about your company, your business, what you do, and time again, we've stumbled over it. And yet we leave that situation because it turned into an okay conversation, but then we don't prepare again for next time. So we don't get all those specifics like you're saying. And one more person to close this out before I give a little advertisement about what's to come in the coming weeks, and then we'll go to Wine on Wednesday. So who's our last person today? What did you
make a request? If I could make a request, if you could all just shoot me an email as to what your revised pitch, branding statement, whatever it's going to be, I'm happy to look at it and offer some suggestions, because I mean, solution to pollution, come on. But you know, it's helpful.
Absolutely. Okay, I am going to ask Jen, because we're friends and I know she'll forgive me. So Jen, what's something that either you hadn't heard before, hadn't thought about before, or weren't paying attention to?
You know, everything that we've talked about has just been, you know, a lot of common sense stuff, but such great reminders of how those little details are so important. I mean, I guess for me, just really nailing down my pitch, because I haven't actually had, you know, I haven't been out in the work world yet. I don't know that it's working yet. Does that make sense? Like, I mean, I've been meeting with you guys on Zoom for a bit now, and I feel like I've been able to practice my, when I say you guys, I mean my family at LAX Postal, but, you know, just a reminder how important it is to really nail that pitch, what you're trying to say. That's what I was getting at.
Absolutely. And it feels so comfortable to be so confident in it on the other side, that when people ask you, it's not I don't have to think about it. I just know what I do. It's pretty cool. So Steve, big applause. What do you want to do? These applause, or the hands applause, jazz hands, whatever applause. Steve, thank you so much for kicking off this series. I am going to overtake the screen sharing for a moment and share with everyone the upcoming Power Professional events. So if this will be every other week, please do ask other folks to register. They can come to the remaining 5, or pick and choose which ones they want to attend. And we've got them every other week here. So coming up in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about presentation skills. And I'm actually going to refer back to some of the things that Steve mentioned today. Then people skills, time management, stress management, and entrepreneurship. So you have Steve's email address. Scott and I will, Scott, if you'll put yours in the chat, I'll put mine in the chat. And then don't forget to, on the 3 dots, save the chat before we hang up from this call. Also, if you are interested to stay on for Wine on Wednesday, Kelly, do we have the link for that we can put in the chat?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to do so.
Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and stop that share. Anything else before we go ahead and head out and transition into Wine on Wednesday? I know you need to go get some wine in order to have Wine on Wednesday. Of course, you'll be getting Cause entrepreneur Tracy Cox One Hope wine. All right. So
Good.
Kelly, I think we are wrapped up. Again, Steve, thank you so much for kicking us off. Kelly, I'm going to turn it over to you to wrap up, and emails and such will be in the chat box.
Wonderful. Sheila, you actually did perfect. Lead-ins have been wonderful today. So I did add in Wine on Wednesday into the link. So thank you very much for leading into that. And I actually have a quick screen to share. But before I do, I want to say thank you so much to Sheila, to Scott for putting this all together for us, for getting Steve. Steve, what a phenomenal job you did. You know, we are so fortunate to have people like you who we can go back to and we can rely on to teach us things that we didn't know that we needed to know. That was a tongue twister. Speaking of tongue twisters, know that we needed to know. And so I just really want to say thank you for leading this charge and for giving us, you know, our statement. Sometimes those elevator pitches or speeches or whatever you want to call them. And sometimes Zoom, we don't portray things in the same way that we had before. And so this helps us portray it in a much clearer light. And so just want to thank you for that so much.
My pleasure. It was great meeting everybody.
So